Lyra stood at the edge of the settlement, the cold wind biting at her cheeks. The alien sky above glimmered with strange colors, casting a dim light on the rocky plains surrounding their home. She hugged her arms around herself, trying to ignore the growing weight in her chest. Every night, they came. The Matriarch had made it clear. The humans must accept them, no matter what, no matter the cost. The first time Lyra had opened the gates to the alien visitors, her hands had trembled. She remembered the deep hum of their arrival, the way the air itself seemed to vibrate with a strange energy. They were tall, slender, and entirely unlike any human. Their skin shimmered with patterns that moved like liquid, and their eyes glowed softly, reflecting a wisdom that felt almost eternal. Yet, it was not their appearance that frightened her most. It was the sense of authority they carried, as if the universe itself had placed them above all humans. And the Matriarch, stern, unyielding, and wise beyond measure, had made it clear that refusal was not an option. Lyra's heart ached as she walked toward the gates. The wind howled across the settlement, rattling the metal structures that housed the humans. Her small village clung to life at the edge of the planet, isolated and exposed, yet proud in its stubbornness. Despite the harsh conditions, the humans had survived here for generations, and now their survival depended on obedience. The first alien to arrive tonight stepped lightly onto the rocky path, its form moving with an elegance that seemed impossible. Lyra bowed her head, her hands shaking as she gestured for the being to enter. "Good evening," she said softly, her voice trembling despite her effort to sound calm. The alien tilted its head, observing her. Its glowing eyes seemed to look straight into her soul. A shiver ran down her spine. There was intelligence there, yes. But also curiosity. Something that made her uneasy, and yet strangely hopeful. "You are Lyra," the alien said, its voice resonating in her mind rather than her ears. She swallowed hard, nodding. "Yes," she replied, careful not to show fear. I welcome you, as the Matriarch commands." The alien stepped closer, and Lyra felt the subtle hum of its energy. It was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. She wondered, not for the first time, what it truly wanted from them. As the alien moved deeper into the settlement, Lyra noticed the other villagers watching from their homes. Fear and mistrust were written on every face. Many had lived through decades of these nightly visits and had grown accustomed to their presence, but none had grown comfortable. And some, those who were older and braver, still questioned why humans had to bow to beings so different. Lyra's thoughts drifted to the Matriarch. She was seated in her high tower, watching the night unfold through a series of intricate lenses and sensors. The Matriarch's eyes were sharp, scanning, always calculating. She trusted Lyra to handle the visitors, to obey, and to maintain the fragile peace that allowed the humans to survive. Lyra often wondered what it would feel like to defy the Matriarch's orders. She had considered it in secret many times, imagining a night when she would refuse to let the aliens in. But every scenario ended the same way in devastation. The aliens had power beyond human understanding, and the Matriarch had survived by respecting it. Yet tonight felt different. There was something in the way the new alien moved, a softness beneath its formality. Lyra couldn't explain it, but a small spark of hope lit within her. Perhaps there was a way to survive without losing themselves entirely. As the alien paused near the settlement's center, Lyra stepped forward. "Would you like to see the village?" she asked, keeping her voice steady. The alien nodded, a slow and deliberate gesture. Its gaze lingered on the small children playing near the edge of the settlement, their laughter faintly carrying across the rocks. Lyra felt a strange relief that the alien seemed almost gentle. "Your people are resilient," the alien said, its voice still resonating in her mind. "They adapt. They endure." Lyra felt a mix of pride and sorrow. "They must," she whispered, Survival here is not easy. The alien observed the village with quiet interest. It walked among the homes, pausing to study the structures humans had built from the harsh materials around them. Every wall, every roof, every small detail spoke of effort and determination. Lyra followed closely, answering questions she barely understood, translating gestures and signals into words. She noticed the alien's curiosity was different from the others she had met before. It didn't command, it didn't intimidate, it watched and learned, almost as if it respected the humans it encountered. For the first time in years, Lyra felt a flicker of possibility. Perhaps the humans could do more than survive. They could grow, adapt, and maybe even thrive. But reality was never far behind. As the alien returned to the gates, a group of older villagers stepped forward, their faces hard with fear and suspicion. "Lyra," one of them said, a woman named Mara. "Why do you trust them? You know what happens if we displease them." "I don't trust them," Lyra replied honestly. "But there's something different about this one. I can feel it." Mara shook her head. "Feelings won't save us. If they decide, we are beneath notice." Lyra's heart sank. She knew Mara was right. Humanity's survival depended on careful obedience. Every night, every interaction, could tilt the balance between life and destruction. As the alien prepared to leave, Lyra felt its attention return to her. Its glowing eyes held hers, not in threat, but in curiosity. She shivered, sensing a connection that defied reason. "You are strong," it said simply, as if speaking directly to her soul. "Do not forget that." Lyra wanted to respond, but no words came. She watched the alien glide away into the darkness, disappearing beyond the rocky plains, leaving only the echo of its presence. The settlement settled into uneasy quiet. The wind howled, rattling the structures, and the humans returned to their homes, their minds filled with questions and doubts. Lyra walked slowly back to her small dwelling. The Matriarch's tower loomed above her, a constant reminder of duty and control. Her heart ached as she realized that every night would be the same. She would welcome them, obey their orders, and carry the weight of her people's fear and mistrust. Yet beneath the burden, a small flame of hope burned. Perhaps one day, humanity would find a way to meet the universe as equals. Perhaps one night, the aliens would see them not as subjects to control, but as beings worthy of respect. Lyra knelt by her small window, staring at the alien sky. Stars twinkled faintly through the swirling colors, and she imagined possibilities far beyond the rocky plains. She imagined humans rising, not by submission, but by courage, by intellect, by heart. Her hands clenched into fists. She would not let her soul break completely. She would endure. She would learn. And perhaps, someday, humanity would claim its rightful place among the stars. For now, she whispered a quiet prayer, not for strength, but for understanding. And somewhere, far beyond the settlement, the alien emissary lingered, its glowing eyes reflecting the faint lights of the human village, watching and waiting. And Lyra knew that this night, like all nights, would pass, but its lessons would linger, shaping not just her, but the fate of her people. The next morning, the settlement stirred to life under the dim light of the alien dawn. Lyra moved quietly through the narrow paths between the rocky homes, her mind still tangled with the events of the previous night. She had felt something she could not name, something beyond fear and duty, when the alien emissary had looked at her. Her footsteps carried her past the villagers tending to their daily routines. Children fetched water from the distant wells, and the older humans inspected their shelters for damage from the cold wind. Everyone moved with purpose, yet a tension lingered in the air, a quiet undercurrent that reminded Lyra how delicate their lives were. She reached the Matriarch's tower, its metallic walls glinting faintly in the pale light. The Matriarch did not speak to her this morning, only observing from her high windows. Lyra felt the weight of her eyes, sharp and calculating, and quickly moved on. There were matters that needed attention today, preparations for the next visit, repairs to the settlement, and, most importantly, her secret thoughts. Since the arrival of the new alien emissary, Lyra could not stop thinking about one question. Why were the humans forced to obey these nightly visits? The Matriarch had never explained fully. The old records were vague, and those who remembered the earliest arrivals of the aliens often spoke in hushed tones. Something was hidden, and it gnawed at her. Lyra made her way to the settlement's small library, a collection of holographic records and etched tablets preserved from the first generations. She sifted through the worn data, her fingers tracing the glowing symbols as she activated each record. Centuries ago, the records explained, the settlement had faced an extinction-level threat, a cosmic storm of energy that had swept across the planet. The aliens had intervened, redirecting the storm and saving the humans from complete annihilation. In return, humanity had pledged obedience to the alien arrivals, swearing to accept them without question. Lyra closed her eyes, the truth heavy on her heart. They had survived because of these beings, yes, but at what cost? The humans had surrendered their independence. Their very actions, their choices, were now guided by fear and obligation. And yet, even as she pondered this, she felt a flicker of defiance rising within her. Humanity had survived harsh worlds, brutal winters, and endless challenges without alien help. Could they not learn, adapt, and rise once more without submission? Her thoughts were interrupted by a soft hum near the edge of the settlement. She turned to see the alien emissary from the previous night, hovering just beyond the boundary. Its glowing eyes fixed on her, and she felt that strange connection once again. "You return," it said, its voice calm, almost gentle. "I wish to speak." Lyra's breath caught. Speaking with the emissary alone was dangerous. The Matriarch would never allow it. Yet something compelled her to move closer. I had questions," Lyra admitted. "Why must we obey? Why do you visit us every night?" The alien tilted its head, considering. "Because survival demanded it. Your people were fragile once. They lacked the understanding to endure alone. We intervened, not as tyrants, but as guardians. Yet, you are different." Lyra's heart leapt. "Different? How?" "You possess something we do not," the alien said softly. "Courage, ingenuity, an ability to adapt beyond expectation. It is rare, even among your species." Lyra's mind raced. Could she truly believe this? Could humans weak, limited, fragile by alien standards truly be more than survivors? She wanted to believe it, and yet fear tugged at her. The Matriarch's words echoed in her mind. Obedience is survival. Defiance is death. The emissary seemed to sense her conflict. "I do not wish to cause harm," it continued. "But I see potential here. Potential that is being stifled by rules older than memory. You can learn. You can resist subtly. You can thrive." 3. Lyra's pulse quickened. The idea of subtly resisting, of testing human strength without risking immediate destruction, ignited a spark within her. Perhaps there was a way to honor survival while reclaiming dignity. Perhaps humanity could be more than obedient shadows. "Teach me," she whispered. "Show me how." The alien considered her request, its glowing form flickering slightly. "I will guide you, but cautiously. One misstep, and your people could face consequences beyond what they have known." Lyra nodded, understanding the risk. She would not endanger her settlement, but she would learn. She would grow. She would prepare humanity for the time when they could stand as equals, not servants. As the emissary left, Lyra returned to the settlement, her mind alive with possibility. She began to observe her people more closely. noticing patterns of behavior, problem-solving skills, and creativity that had been overlooked for generations. The humans were not weak, they were resilient, clever, and full of untapped potential. She started small. Secretly, she tested ideas for improving shelter insulation and water storage. She taught children to observe and record changes in the environment. Every minor innovation was a step toward independence, a quiet act of rebellion hidden beneath the daily routines of survival. But secrecy was difficult. Rumors spread quickly in the tight-knit settlement. Some older humans noticed her activities and frowned. "Lyra," Mara said one evening, her face hard. "What are you doing? You cannot tamper with what has kept us alive. The Matriarch watches everything." "I am not tampering," Lyra replied calmly, hiding the excitement in her voice. "I am learning. We must be ready, in case the rules change. In case, one day, we must stand on our own." Mara shook her head. Worry etched deep into her features. "Curiosity is dangerous. You could bring the aliens' wrath upon us. Remember what obedience means." Lyra nodded, but the seed of rebellion had taken root in her heart. Humanity could endure, and perhaps even flourish, if guided wisely, and she would be the one to nurture that spark. That night, the aliens arrived again, their forms appearing in the dim light like shadows cast by starlight. Lyra opened the gates, her heart steady, but her mind alive with the knowledge she had gained. She greeted the newcomers, but her eyes constantly flicked toward the emissary. The emissary observed her closely, and when the others were distracted, it moved nearer. Lyra felt the hum of its presence, the gentle energy that had seemed to encourage her without words. "You learn quickly," it said. "Do not underestimate your species. Even now, they adapt in ways you do not yet see." Lyra swallowed, feeling a swell of pride. The humans were clever, they were resilient, and under her quiet guidance, they were beginning to realize it for themselves. Yet, danger was never far away. Midway through the night, a small group of aliens, not emissaries but observers, approached the settlement's edge. They were silent, their movements precise, and their glowing eyes scanned the humans with subtle suspicion. Lyra's heart pounded. "They are testing us," she whispered to herself. She guided the humans to follow her quietly, avoiding any sudden movements. Every step was careful, every gesture measured. The night was a game of survival, and one mistake could cost them dearly. But Lyra felt something new. Confidence. Humanity had adapted for generations. They had endured impossible conditions and survived. Now, under her guidance and the emissary's subtle instruction, they could learn to defend themselves, even in ways the aliens might not expect. The observers eventually retreated, leaving the humans unscathed but tense. Lyra exhaled, her body trembling from relief and excitement. They had passed the test not through brute strength, but through observation, caution, and ingenuity. As the night faded into dawn, Lyra looked out across the settlement. The alien sky shimmered above, a constant reminder of the vast universe beyond their home. And she knew, deep in her heart, that humanity's story was far from over. For the first time, Lyra felt the thrill of possibility. Humanity could rise. Humanity could fight not with weapons alone, but with courage, intelligence, and determination. And perhaps one day, they would no longer be the obedient shadows of the aliens, but a species respected across the stars. The night had come and gone, but the spark of rebellion, quiet and subtle, burned brighter than ever. Days passed, and the settlement continued its quiet routines. But something had shifted. Lyra could feel it in the air. The villagers moved with a subtle purpose, as if their hearts carried a secret determination. The alien emissary's words echoed in her mind. Even now, they adapt in ways you do not yet see. Lyra had begun teaching humans to think differently, to notice patterns in the harsh environment, and find solutions on their own. Simple changes at first: how to store water more efficiently, how to reinforce shelters against the fierce winds, but each small success gave them confidence. She observed, guided, and sometimes allowed her own curiosity to lead the way. One morning, Lyra stood on a ridge overlooking the settlement, scanning the rocky plains for signs of the aliens. The emissary had not come for several nights, and she wondered if its absence was a test. The humans were ready, she hoped, though they did not yet realize it. From the ridge, she spotted a group of younger villagers experimenting with a makeshift water filtration system. It was crude, built from scraps, but it worked. A spark of pride warmed her chest. Humanity could create, adapt, and survive even without full knowledge of the universe. Lyra turned as a faint hum reached her ears. The alien emissary appeared again, hovering just above the ridge. Its luminous form reflected the morning sun in soft patterns across the rocks. "You have been busy," it said, voice resonating in her mind. "I see progress. Your people are learning." "They are strong," Lyra replied, "and clever. They just need guidance." The emissary studied her. "Clever, yes, but potential alone is not enough. You must teach them caution, patience, and strategy. Knowledge without planning can be dangerous." Lyra nodded. She knew this all too well. One mistake could bring the wrath of the alien visitors, and her people would suffer. But one success, one small victory, could prove humanity's worth in ways even the aliens could not ignore. As she spoke, a distant rumble shook the ground. Lyra's heart tightened. The sky shimmered, and she sensed the presence of something new, something powerful approaching. The aliens were coming, not the emissary, but others, stronger, larger, and more imposing. The villagers began to gather, their fear palpable. Lyra held up her hands. "Stay calm," she commanded. "We are ready. Follow my instructions." The aliens arrived silently, their forms glowing faintly, and their eyes fixed on the humans. They moved with precision, assessing every structure, every movement, every human. The villagers froze, unsure what to do. Lyra stepped forward. "We are ready," she said firmly. "Observe if you must, but we will not cower." The alien leader, larger than the others, tilted its head. Its gaze lingered on Lyra, then shifted across the settlement. Lyra could feel the tension thickening, like a storm ready to break. "This is a test," the emissary's voice echoed in her mind. "They are here to measure you. Show them what humanity can do." Lyra took a deep breath. She turned to her people, pointing toward a makeshift barricade she had been helping construct. "Use what we have learned," she whispered. "Every small tool, every plan we practiced. Tonight, we are not just survivors. We are humans, with skill, wit, and courage." The villagers nodded, their fear giving way to determination. They moved quickly, positioning defenses, signaling each other with hand gestures and small lights. Lyra led from the front, her heart steady, her mind focused. The alien leader approached the barricade, testing the humans' resolve. A faint pulse of energy radiated from its body, a warning that could have shattered stone. But the humans held their ground, using clever arrangements of metal, rock, and improvised energy deflectors. Every small design reflected their ingenuity and adaptability. Lyra watched in awe. Humanity was thriving under pressure, not breaking. The aliens had underestimated them, assuming fear alone would ensure compliance. But the humans were learning, growing, and adapting in ways no alien had fully predicted. The leader extended a hand, a gesture of challenge rather than attack. Lyra recognized it for what it was: a test of intelligence, not strength. She nodded to her people and allowed them to approach the challenge creatively. They moved quickly, using patterns they had discovered during the emissary's guidance. Simple calculations, clever timing, and teamwork allowed them to manipulate the alien energy pulses without harm. The humans were not just surviving, they were excelling. The alien leader paused, its glowing eyes reflecting surprise. Lyra could feel the recognition. The aliens were seeing what she had known all along. Humans were resilient, intelligent, and capable of far more than simple obedience. The emissary hovered nearby, a silent observer, its glow flickering with approval. "You are teaching them well," it said in her mind. "Do not stop. Their potential is limitless if guided properly." Lyra felt a surge of pride. For the first time, she realized that the settlement could defend itself, not with weapons alone, but with human ingenuity and courage. The aliens had underestimated them, and that misjudgment could become their greatest advantage. As the night progressed, the alien visitors tested different aspects of the settlement: energy sources, communication lines, and resource storage. Each time, the humans responded with creativity and skill, avoiding danger and finding solutions faster than the aliens expected. The villagers began to understand their own power. Fear had controlled them for generations, but now they could see that careful planning, teamwork, and courage allowed them to act independently. Lyra watched them silently, her heart swelling with hope. Humanity was awakening. At the height of the night, a critical moment arrived. The alien leader attempted a direct test, an energy pulse aimed at the heart of the settlement. Lyra signaled to her people, and they used a combination of energy shields, reflective surfaces, and quick calculations to redirect the pulse safely. The leader recoiled in surprise, its form flickering. Lyra stepped forward, calm and resolute. "You underestimated us," she said quietly. "We are more than fear and obedience. We are humans. We survive, we adapt, and we rise." A tense silence followed. The aliens studied the humans closely, their glowing eyes flickering with something that resembled respect. The emissary hovered nearby, its presence a reminder that guidance had been crucial, but the humans themselves had earned this moment. Finally, the alien leader stepped back, its energy dimming. "You are different," it said. "Stronger than we expected. Perhaps this species has potential beyond prediction." Lyra's heart leapt. The humans had passed the test, not through force alone, but through ingenuity, courage, and collaboration. Every lesson, every secret experiment, every act of quiet defiance had led to this moment. As the aliens departed, leaving only the emissary behind, Lyra turned to her people. "You did it," she said softly. "We showed them what we can do. Remember this feeling. Remember your strength." The villagers gathered around her, faces alight with pride and relief. They had endured, adapted, and excelled under pressure. Humanity had proven itself worthy, even in the eyes of beings far stronger and older. The emissary spoke one last time before leaving. "Your species has begun to awaken," it said. "Do not let this spark fade. Guide them, teach them, prepare them. The universe will test you again, and next time, the challenges will be even greater." Lyra watched as it disappeared into the alien sky, a soft glow fading into the distance. She turned back to her settlement, the humans moving with quiet purpose, learning, growing, and understanding the value of their own abilities. For the first time, Lyra felt something she had not known in years: hope. Humanity could thrive, humanity could rise, and she, guided by courage, intelligence, and the quiet wisdom of the emissary, would help them reach heights the aliens had never imagined. The night had been long, challenging, and dangerous, but it had revealed a truth Lyra had always known. Humans were capable of far more than obedience. They could adapt, innovate, and shine, even in the darkest hours. And as the stars shimmered above the settlement, Lyra whispered to herself, "This is only the beginning." The wind howled across the rocky plains as night fell over the settlement. Lyra stood atop the ridge, her eyes scanning the horizon. Tonight felt different. A tense energy hung in the air, prickling at her skin like tiny sparks. She had sensed it since the morning the alien visitors were coming. But this time, their presence was heavier, more deliberate. The emissary had not arrived early, leaving her to prepare alone. Lyra moved quickly, rallying the villagers. "Tonight, we must use everything we have learned," she said, her voice calm but firm. "We have practiced, we have learned, and now we must show them our strength. Not with weapons alone, but with our minds, our courage, and our unity." The villagers nodded, their faces tense but determined. They had followed Lyra's guidance for weeks now, learning to observe, plan, and act with precision. Simple innovations, water filters, energy deflectors, and quick communication signals had already proven their worth in smaller tests. Tonight, it would all be put to the ultimate test. From the horizon, glowing figures began to emerge. The alien visitors moved silently, their forms towering and graceful, radiating power that would have once terrified the humans. Lyra's heart pounded, but her face remained composed. She had no illusions the aliens were formidable, yet the humans had something they did not expect: the spark of ingenuity and the courage to act together. The leader of the alien group stepped forward, its glowing eyes fixed on Lyra. "You have grown," it said, its voice resonating through the settlement like a low hum. "But growth comes with consequences. Tonight, we measure your worth. Failure is not an option." Lyra drew a deep breath and signaled to her people. Every step, every action had been planned for this moment. The humans took their positions, moving with a precision born of practice and necessity. The aliens began their test immediately. Pulses of energy flashed across the rocky ground, forcing the humans to react quickly. Energy barriers shone brightly as humans used reflective surfaces and makeshift shields to redirect the pulses harmlessly. Every move was calculated, every response deliberate. Lyra guided them, her mind racing. "Shift the panels. Angle the reflectors. Now!" Quickly, the villagers obeyed, their fear replaced by focus. They were not cowering, they were acting, thinking, surviving. The alien leader observed, its glowing form pulsing with an intensity that reflected surprise. Humanity's response was more sophisticated than expected. The emissary hovered nearby, a silent witness to the humans' growing skill. But the test was far from over. The aliens unleashed a coordinated wave of energy aimed directly at the settlement's core structures. Lyra's pulse quickened. She had prepared for this moment. But the stakes were higher than ever. She directed her people with precision. "Use the deflectors. Focus on the central pulse. Keep moving." Humans darted between shelters, adjusting energy shields, redirecting pulses, and working together seamlessly. Their ingenuity shone as the alien energy struck their barriers, only to be sent harmlessly into the rocky plains. Each successful deflection strengthened their confidence, reinforcing the lesson they had been learning for weeks. Humans could adapt, even against overwhelming power. The alien leader's glowing eyes flickered, a subtle sign of recognition. Lyra realized that the aliens were not testing strength alone, they were testing intelligence, creativity, and the ability to act under pressure. Humanity's true power was not in obedience, but in their ability to think, innovate, and survive together. Suddenly, the aliens shifted tactics. Smaller, faster forms appeared at the edges of the settlement, moving with precision to challenge the humans' defenses. Lyra acted quickly, signaling to her people to use the skills they had practiced. Observe their patterns, predict their moves, counter with speed and wit. The villagers moved with a combination of caution and creativity. Simple traps, clever use of terrain, and quick adjustments allowed them to outmaneuver the smaller aliens. The humans were no longer passive, they were active participants in the test, using their intelligence to gain control over the situation. As the night deepened, the alien leader attempted a direct confrontation, sending a concentrated energy beam toward Lyra's position. Without hesitation, Lyra calculated the timing, used a reflective panel, and redirected the beam into a distant rock formation. The impact shook the plains, but the settlement remained unharmed. The villagers cheered quietly, their fear replaced by exhilaration. They had faced a direct challenge and succeeded, not by brute force, but by applying what they had learned. Humanity had proven itself in the harshest possible way, by thinking, adapting, and acting as one. The alien leader stepped back, its glowing form dimming slightly. "You are remarkable," it said. "Even we underestimated your potential. Perhaps your species is more than survival alone. Perhaps you are worthy of respect." Lyra felt a surge of pride. The humans had passed the night of reckoning not just through obedience, but through ingenuity, courage, and collaboration. Every secret experiment, every lesson taught, every act of careful planning had led to this moment. The emissary floated closer, its glow soft and approving. "You have shown them what humanity can achieve," it said. "But remember, this is only the beginning. The universe will challenge you again. Prepare, teach, and guide your people. They have the spark, you must nurture it." Lyra nodded, understanding the truth of the words. The humans had proven their worth tonight, but the challenges ahead would be greater. She would need to guide them, to help them grow stronger, and to ensure they never forgot their own capabilities. The aliens departed slowly, leaving only the emissary behind. Its eyes met Lyra's, conveying a message beyond words. Humanity had begun its journey toward true independence. The settlement was quiet now, the wind howling softly through the rocky paths, and Lyra allowed herself a rare moment of rest. She walked among her people, observing their faces. Pride and relief shone in their eyes. They had endured a night of extreme challenge and emerged not broken, but stronger. The humans had learned to act with intelligence, courage, and unity, the qualities that had allowed their species to survive across generations and planets. Lyra knelt by a small fire, watching the flames flicker against the faces of children who had participated in the night's defense. She smiled softly. "Remember this feeling," she whispered. "You are strong. You are clever. You are humans, and no one can take that from you." The emissary hovered silently nearby, watching the scene. "Your species is awakening," it said. "Do not let this moment pass unnoticed. Continue to teach, continue to guide, and prepare for the challenges that lie ahead. Humanity's journey has only just begun." Lyra's gaze turned toward the alien sky, shimmering with colors that seemed impossible to describe. The stars twinkled faintly, each one a reminder of the vast universe beyond the settlement. Humanity had faced fear, obedience, and uncertainty. But now, they had begun to rise, not through submission, but through courage, ingenuity, and determination. The Matriarch's tower loomed in the distance, silent but ever watchful. Lyra knew the lessons of the night would not go unnoticed. Even the Matriarch, who had commanded obedience for generations, must now recognize the truth. Humanity had power beyond fear, skill beyond submission, and a spirit that could not be crushed. As the first light of dawn touched the rocky plains, Lyra stood atop the ridge once more. She looked down at her settlement, her people moving quietly among the homes, proud and confident. A smile spread across her face. Humanity had endured the night of reckoning, and in doing so, had begun to claim its rightful place in the universe. Lyra whispered a promise to herself, to her people, and perhaps even to the stars. We will rise. We will endure. And we will never forget that our greatest strength lies not in obedience, but in our courage, our mind, and our hearts. The night was over, but its lessons would echo forever. Humanity had faced its greatest test yet, and had emerged stronger, wiser, and more united than ever before. And somewhere, beyond the horizon, the universe waited, full of challenges and opportunities, ready to see what humans could achieve.